Let's leave here on a happy note, Adam. Listen, we've been talking about North Carolina for quite a hot minute here on the old podcast. So let's give some people over there in the Tar Heel State something to be happy about.
We've been telling you that online sports betting was coming to the state of North Carolina. We had the vague assurance that even though they were not able to get it launched by NFL season, that it would be before March Madness, that legal online sports betting apps would be available in California. We got the date today. We're recording this on Wednesday. The date will be March 11th. Pre-registration can begin as soon as March 1st. And we now have all of the 7 applicants for legal sports betting who wanted to be on the starting line for day one. They all have partnerships now. So those partnerships were necessitated by a change in the law that came about in September, the weird change that we say nobody has been able to claim ownership of from changing a settled law to require these partnerships with professional sports organizations. Regardless, those are now done. And so those applicants are now going through the background check process. It is mostly de rigueur when it comes to these sorts of things. It should be taken care of. Those should be ready to go on March 11th. If you're not going to get in by the beginning of NFL season, if you're then not going to be able to get in before the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl, the next biggest acquisition opportunity on the calendar is March Madness. You and I know from Las Vegas, it is the single most bet event in all of the entire world sports calendar in non-World Cup years. Like, you will hear all about how over the first weekend, all the way to the Final Four, draws well more than the Super Bowl.
Yes, absolutely. In the article over does reveal it is Bet365, BetMGM, DraftKings, ESPN Bet, Fanatics, FanDuel, and Adam, Underdog, who has secured. And we knew this all along, right? Like this was always the difference between Underdog and Prize Picks. The difference between Underdog and Prize Picks is Underdog never made their intentions ambiguous at all. Like, it was like, no, we want to be a sports book. We want to be a sports book operator. You and I have traded texts over the last year or so because, you know, headhunters will like send me, hey, here's a job opportunity, whatever, all the time. And it's like, I've gotten several for Underdog, you know, because and so we knew for a long time, you know, on the back end that they were building out a sports book and that was the ultimate goal for the brand. And so we see here, at least in North Carolina, Bet365, they continue their expansion and push here in the States. MGM, as you would imagine, DraftKings, FanDuel, as you would imagine, ESPN Bet, Fanatics, but Underdog securing that partnership in North Carolina.
And important to note that Caesars already had its partnership established through the Harrah's casinos. There's been in-person tribal sports betting at a couple of remote locations for a couple of years now. About Underdog, what's interesting is that, remember that North Carolina initially, about a month ago, said that it was going to ban the controversial pick'em games from Prize Picks and Underdog. These are, of course, separate from the sports betting license, and got some pushback from those companies and ultimately decided, you know what, we've got enough to figure out before we get this thing launched. We're just going to remove the prohibition for now, and we will come back to this later. And so what's really interesting to me about Underdog being at the starting line when it comes to sports betting is we're now going to get a real look at what the Underdog sports betting product looks like. And I think the question that everybody who has been involved with this industry through the course of 2023 is going to say is, how different does it look than the pick'em game, right? When they're offering props, how are they distinguishing what is what? There are a lot of very smart people involved with this company. I'm sure that there's going to be clear lines that can be drawn when it comes to the two products. I just feel like when we talk about this state in particular, you've got multiple things to watch for when it comes to that particular company that I think will give you clues about what is to come in 2024 for Prize Picks, Underdog, and similar DFS companies trying to make it in the pick'em space.